Hello everyone, if you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., do these 5 things. Waking up in the early hours between 3 and 5 a.m. is not random. This window is sacred. It's a time when the world is silent, distractions are minimal, and your soul is most connected to clarity. Most ignore this moment and roll back to sleep. But if you're waking up in that hour, don't turn over. Wake up to your calling. So if you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., don't see it as an inconvenience. See it as an invitation to rise while the world sleeps. To build what others only dream about. To connect, to grow, to lead, starting in silence. These hours aren't empty. They're powerful. What you do in them could shift your life forever. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not just a coincidence. It carries deep spiritual, psychological, and energetic meaning across many cultures and belief systems. This window of time is often referred to as the hour of awakening, the veil hour, or the soul's whisper. In spiritual terms, this is when the connection between the physical world and the unseen realm is at its strongest. It's the time when intuition is sharper, inner peace is more accessible, and divine messages are clearer. In ancient Chinese medicine and the traditional body clock, these hours correspond to the lungs, the organ connected to grief, breathing, and the intake of life energy, or a qi. If you're waking up during this time consistently, it's often believed that your soul is trying to cleanse, release emotional weight, or guide you toward a higher purpose. It may also mean there's an unresolved energy or a calling that you have been ignoring during the busyness of the day. From a psychological standpoint, this time is when your subconscious mind is most active. The barriers that usually block creativity, clarity, and insight are lowered. Your mind is more open, less distracted, and your thoughts are raw and unfiltered. This creates a rare opportunity to listen to your inner voice, confront your deeper fears, and hear the quiet truths that daily noise buries. But it's not just about the spiritual or psychological implications. When you wake up while the world sleeps, you are being separated. Not in isolation, but in preparation. You're being called to grow in silence, to strengthen without applause, to reset your direction away from the chaos of daytime demand. This hour invites you into stillness, not as an escape, but as an alignment. A sacred pause that asks you to remember who you really are, why you're here, and what you've been neglecting. Most people pray or reflect only when things fall apart. But this hour is a sign that you're being asked to connect before the storm, to be shaped while it's still quiet. The world teaches you to hustle, to push, to compete. But this hour teaches you to listen. And when you begin to honor this time, instead of dismissing it as insomnia or inconvenience, everything in your life begins to shift. When you first wake between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., before you do anything, before your feet touch the floor, before your mind rushes back into yesterday's memories or tomorrow's worries, pause, stay still. This moment of waking is sacred, and how you handle the first few minutes sets the emotional and mental tone for everything that follows. That's why stillness is not a delay, it's a doorway. In the silence of these hours, your mind is raw, unshaped, unfiltered. There's no external noise, no pressure, no rush, just you. Alive, breathing, present. This is your moment to turn inward before the world turns outward. The goal is not to start solving problems or chasing thoughts. The goal is to center your spirit, regulate your breath, and create intentional space inside yourself before the day intrudes. Begin with your breath, because breath is the anchor to now. Close your eyes. Place one hand over your chest or your stomach. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale through your mouth for 6. Do this again and again. Feel the rhythm. Feel the life force moving through you. You're not just breathing. You're reclaiming your calm. You're reminding your nervous system that you're in control. That you are not starting the day in panic, but in peace. This type of focused breathing does more than relax you. It stabilizes your thoughts. It clears the fog. It brings awareness back into your body. And most importantly, it brings you into the now, because the present moment is the only moment you can respond to with power. Stillness too is not just the absence of movement, it's the presence of awareness. Sitting or lying still in a quiet space allows you to listen deeply. Not just to external sounds, but to your internal cues. You might notice thoughts, memories, feelings rising up. Don't judge them. Don't resist them. Just observe. You are not those thoughts. You are the observer of those thoughts. Why is this so powerful? Because most people start their mornings in chaos, rushing, checking phones, reacting. That's not starting the day, it's surrendering it. But when you claim stillness at 3 or 4 in the morning, you're not just starting earlier, you're starting better. You're stepping into the day from a place of grounded awareness instead of frantic distraction. The stillness isn't weakness. It's strength under control. Breath isn't basic, it's the bridge between your body and your spirit. When you start your waking moment in stillness and breath, you're not escaping the day, you're mastering it from the first second. Gratitude is not just a pleasant feeling. It is a powerful mental discipline. And when practiced deliberately between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., it becomes transformative. In those sacred early hours, when your mind is quiet and your spirit is open, gratitude becomes more than a thought. It becomes a rewiring process. Your brain is highly suggestible during this window. The state between sleep and full wakefulness, called the hypnopompic state, is a neurological sweet spot. In this state, your subconscious mind is most receptive, your ego is less defensive, and your emotions are closer to the surface. This means what you choose to focus on, especially emotionally charged thoughts, can reshape your mindset and deeply influence your entire day. And this is where gratitude enters with force. Most people wake up thinking about problems. What they didn't finish yesterday, what they fear today, what someone said, what went wrong. That habitual focus builds stress, anxiety, and negative thought patterns before the sun even rises. But if you intentionally replace that pattern with gratitude, real, felt gratitude, you immediately start creating new neural pathways of peace, joy, and strength. Don't just say, I'm grateful, feel it. Bring to mind 3 specific things, not vague or forced. Think of something as simple as a roof over your head, clean water, or a safe place to rest. Think of the people who care for you, the strength that carried you through something difficult, or the small joys that often go unnoticed. The way morning light falls on your floor, the quiet in the air, the beating of your own. Let it sink in. Say it out loud if you can. I am grateful for this life. I am grateful I woke up today. I am grateful for the chance to grow, to heal, to start again. When you speak gratitude in this quiet space, you're not just being positive, you're breaking the chain of fear-based thinking. You're removing the mind's fixation on scarcity and opening yourself to abundance. Over time, this doesn't just change your mood, it changes your mind. Neuroscience backs this up. Gratitude practices are proven to activate the brain's reward center, increase dopamine and serotonin levels, and decrease cortisol, the stress hormone. In other words, gratitude physically changes your brain's chemistry to help you feel calmer, more energized, and more resilient. But more than anything, gratitude is an act of resistance against negativity. It says, I will not let what's missing blind me to what's present. I will not let fear silence joy. I will not begin this day in lack, but in fullness. So every time you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., let your first emotional discipline be this. Gratitude before goals. Gratitude before grind. Gratitude before anything else. The early hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are a spiritual and psychological blank canvas. This is a time when your subconscious mind is open, your internal dialogue is quiet, and your soul is ready to receive. In these sacred moments, one of the most life-altering habits you can practice is the intentional use of affirmations. Not just empty words, but spoken truth that shapes who you are becoming. Most people live their lives reacting to circumstance. They let the outer world dictate how they feel about themselves. But affirmations flip that dynamic. When you affirm your identity and your vision in these early hours, you're not waiting for the world to tell you who you are. You're telling the world who you've decided to be. This is critical. Why? Because every single day, your brain is gathering evidence to confirm whatever it already believes about you. If you subconsciously believe you're not good enough, not capable, or not worthy, your brain will filter life through that lens. But if you begin every morning, especially at the hour when your subconscious is most sensitive, by affirming strength, discipline, and purpose, you start feeding your brain a new belief system, and the brain will start collecting new evidence to support it. Speak affirmations out loud. They are not magic. They're programming. Try statements like, I am in control of my thoughts and my emotions. I am aligned with purpose, clarity, and discipline. I am not who I was. I am who I choose to become. I have everything I need within me to rise higher. We am building a future that honors who I truly am. These aren't just words, they're declarations of ownership. You are not begging the day to be kind to you. You are commanding your inner world to rise into alignment with your calling. And affirmations don't just affirm who you are, they affirm where you're going. Speak your vision aloud too. State your goals as if they are already in motion. Say, I'm creating financial freedom through consistency and strategy. I'm becoming the healthiest version of myself, mind, and body. I am walking in divine timing and trusting the process. This may feel awkward at first, especially if your current reality doesn't match your words. But that's exactly the point. Affirmations aren't about describing your current situation. They are about describing your future identity so often, so clearly, so boldly, that you start stepping into it. What you consistently affirm, you begin to believe. And what you believe, you begin to manifest through your decisions, your focus, and your energy. In these quiet pre-dawn hours, you are planting the seeds of who you're becoming. Don't waste that power by scrolling your phone or letting doubt creep in. Instead, stand in the mirror of your soul and speak life into your name, your goals, your spirit. Because the most powerful words in the universe are the ones you say to yourself when no one is watching. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. offers a rare gift, a sacred silence that the rest of the day simply cannot provide. This is not just an opportunity to be still, but a spiritual opening for deeper connection. Whether you pray, meditate, or simply sit in contemplative awareness, this is the hour when you must do it with intention, not habit. Let's be clear, this is not about religious rituals or mechanical recitations. This is about alignment, about tuning your spirit like a delicate instrument to the higher frequency of wisdom, peace, and guidance. In these early hours, you are not bombarded by messages, emails, or responsibilities. Your energy is clean, your heart is open, your soul is listening. When you pray in this time, don't rush, don't beg, converse. Speak honestly, talk like you're confiding in the deepest, most understanding presence. You don't have to sound holy, you just have to be real. Tell the truth of how you feel. Express gratitude, release fear, seek clarity. You might say, guide me where I am blind, or strengthen me where I am weak. I release what I cannot control. Help me walk in peace and purpose today. This kind of intentional prayer centers your spirit. It reminds you that you are not walking alone, that there is order beyond the chaos, and that there is wisdom beyond your current understanding. And if prayer is how you speak, then meditation is how you listen. Meditation in these hours is powerful because the mind is quiet and more cooperative. The ego isn't as loud. Sit with your back straight, breathe deeply, and allow your thoughts to come and go like clouds passing in the sky. Don't chase them. Don't resist them. Just return to your breath. Focus on a word or mantra if it helps. Something simple like peace, light, or release. Let your body be still, but let your awareness expand. Let yourself drift deeper into presence. You are not your thoughts. You are not your worries. You are the observer. And as you watch those thoughts arise and fade without attachment, you begin to train your mind for the rest of the day. You cultivate emotional space. You create clarity. You find power in stillness. In this silence, answers often emerge, not loud or dramatic, but soft and clear. The insight you've been seeking, the decision you've been postponing, the peace you've been craving, it often arrives not through striving, but through surrender. And perhaps most importantly, this time of prayer or meditation reminds you of your true center. The world outside might be loud, chaotic, unpredictable, but within you is a place that is unshaken, untouched by noise. The more often you return there, the more unshakable you become. So whether you kneel, sit, breathe, or whisper, do it with intention. Not because it's routine, but because it's renewal. Not to perform, but to connect. Not to impress the world, but to reconnect with who you are when the world is silent. There is something profoundly powerful about writing in the early hours between 3 a.m. and 5. This is not about journaling for aesthetics or keeping records for memory's sake. This is about emptying your mind, unlocking your emotions, and capturing your inner truth while the world is still quiet and your mind is still raw. During this time, your brain is in a transition state between deep rest and full alertness. That means your conscious filters are lowered and the subconscious thoughts, those that usually hide behind busyness, fear, or logic, begin to surface. These are the thoughts that drive your behavior, influence your decisions, and reveal what's really happening inside you. Writing them down gives you access to a level of self-awareness and clarity you might never reach during the distractions of daytime. Grab a pen and notebook, not your phone. There's a power in the physical act of writing. It slows your thoughts down, makes your feelings tangible, and helps you face what's really going on inside. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to make sense. Just start writing. You can begin with a mind dump, a raw, uncensored release of whatever's on your heart or mind. What am I feeling right now? What thoughts keep repeating in my head? What am I avoiding or afraid to admit? Put it all on the page. The worries, the ideas, the doubts, the dreams. Don't judge. Just observe. From there, move into reflective prompts. These deepen your awareness and give structure to your thoughts. What did I learn from yesterday? What am I grateful for in this moment? What needs to change within me before anything changes around me? What am I being called to do today that aligns with my bigger purpose? This process isn't about venting, it's about processing. Your journal becomes your mirror, your coach, your therapist, and your planner all at once. When you write consistently during these early hours, you start to detect patterns, recurring fears that need healing, recurring dreams that demand action, and recurring thoughts that no longer serve your growth. And don't underestimate the power of writing down your goals in this moment of silence. When the world is asleep and distractions are gone, writing your dreams feels different. It's not just hopeful, it's sacred. It's as if you're planting seeds in the soil of your subconscious while it's fertile and open. Rewriting your goals daily, even briefly, reinforces them in your identity. You go from I want to be to I am becoming. You can also try future journaling, writing as if your dream life is already here. I wake up feeling energized and aligned with purpose. My business is thriving. I'm disciplined. I love the person I've become. This isn't fantasy. It's identity training. You are programming your mind to think, feel, and act like the person you want to become. Writing is not just expression. It is transformation. The page doesn't lie. It reveals. It teaches. It listens. And if you do it consistently, especially in these sacred hours, you'll begin to witness your own growth line by line, page by page. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., your mind is in its most fertile state, soft, unguarded, impressionable. This is the ideal window to visualize your next level with deep emotional clarity and conviction. Visualization is not daydreaming, it's not fantasy. It is a conscious, intentional practice of mentally rehearsing the life you want to create before it physically exists. At this hour, your brain is transitioning from theta to alpha brainwaves. This is the same state athletes, performers, and high achievers tap into to mentally train for success. Why? Because the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you consistently visualize success, health, confidence, or inner peace, your mind begins to accept it as normal, familiar, and even expected. That changes everything. So sit still. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to center yourself. And then begin to see it. Visualize yourself waking up with energy and clarity. Picture your environment. Where are you? What does your space look like? Is it organized, peaceful, inspiring? Feel the emotions of waking up with purpose. See yourself moving through the day, confident, composed, in control. Imagine completing tasks with focus, having powerful conversations, and walking in alignment with your goals. Go further. Visualize your next level self. Not the version of you that's struggling, but the version that has already grown through it. What does that version of you look like? How do they speak? How do they carry themselves? What boundaries do they hold? What habits do they practice? Spend time there. Live it. Breathe it. Own it. Visualization is most powerful when it's sensory rich and emotionally charged. Don't just see the results, feel them. Feel what it would be like to finally be free from what's been holding you back. Feel the pride of accomplishing what you once thought impossible. Let that feeling sink into your bones. You're not imagining to escape reality, you're imagining to build it. You're telling your nervous system, your mindset, your focus, this is who I am becoming. And once your mind starts to believe it, your actions will begin to follow. You'll start making decisions not from a place of fear or limitation, but from the mindset of someone who knows where they're going. You can also use this time to mentally rehearse specific scenarios, a meeting, a workout, a presentation, a difficult conversation. Visualize yourself handling it with excellence, calm, and presence. Athletes have done this for decades. Before stepping on the field, they've already played the game 1,000 times in their minds. Your mind is your first battlefield, and visualization is your training ground. This practice also helps dissolve imposter syndrome, doubt, and inner resistance. When you train your mind daily to see yourself succeeding, it becomes harder for fear to convince you otherwise. And when obstacles arise, as they always do, you've already rehearsed persistence. You've already envisioned overcoming. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It's preparation. It's mental and spiritual alignment. It's how you program your brain to expect more, to reach further, and to no longer settle for what no longer serves your future. When you rise between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., your mind is unclouded, your soul is quiet, and your attention is not being hijacked by notifications or noise. This makes it the perfect time to feed your spirit and intellect with pure, purposeful wisdom. And whether you choose to read or listen, what you consume in these early hours will shape the trajectory of your entire day and, over time, the course of your entire life. This is not the time for entertainment. This is not the hour to scroll, to binge, or to distract yourself. This is your window to nourish your mind, and what you choose to put into it will either plant seeds of strength and growth or allow weeds of doubt and distraction to take root. Start small. Open a book that fuels your growth, whether it's spiritual, philosophical, personal development, or autobiographical. Just one page of timeless truth in the stillness of morning can hit differently than reading a whole chapter in the middle of a noisy afternoon. When the world is asleep, a single sentence can awaken something inside you. The right line can break a limiting belief, unlock a new idea, or confirm a decision you've been avoiding. If reading isn't your preference in that moment, listen. Put on an audio recording of a powerful speaker, a guided meditation, or a spiritual message. Choose a voice that uplifts, instructs, and strengthens. These early hours are when the voice you allow into your space becomes the loudest echo in your soul for the rest of the day, so choose it wisely. This practice is about deliberate input. Just like your body needs clean food to function well, your mind needs clean content to think clearly, decide wisely, and live with purpose. Early morning wisdom is different from daytime learning. It's not about information, it's about transformation. It's not about how much you consume, it's about how deeply it lands. As you read or listen, don't rush through it. Reflect. Pause after a sentence that hits hard. Ask yourself, how does this apply to me right now? Or what truth is this revealing about my current mindset or habit? What needs to shift inside me because of what I just read or heard? This is how wisdom becomes personal. You don't just study it, you live it, you embody it. You make it part of your morning mental armor so that when the world begins to pull at your energy, you're not reactive, you're rooted. And over time, this daily discipline compounds. Imagine how different your life will look in 6 months or a year if you committed to feeding your mind with 5 minutes of deep wisdom every single morning while the rest of the world's. Imagine the level of awareness, focus, and emotional intelligence you'd build quietly, consistently, without needing recognition or applause. This habit is not about impressing others, it's about impressing the truth upon your own soul. Because in a world full of noise, confusion, and shallow content, wisdom becomes your compass, and your morning becomes your sanctuary. Rising between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not just a spiritual opportunity, it is a strategic advantage. While the world sleeps, you are awake with clarity. While others rush into their day half prepared, you have the gift of time, intention, and force. And if you use that gift wisely, it can set the tone for everything that follows. That's why one of the most important things you must do and do is to prepare for the day with discipline. Discipline is not about being rigid or robotic. It's about being aligned with what matters most. It's about making intentional choices before the chaos begins. It's not enough to wake early and feel inspired. You must also act with structure. The energy you create in the early hours will either carry you forward with momentum or fade into scattered intentions if you don't organize it. So how do you prepare with discipline? First, review your plan for the day. If you didn't create one the night before, now is the time. Don't just write a to-do list. Write a purpose list. Identify the top 3 things that will move your life forward, not just urgent tasks, but important ones. Ask yourself, what must be accomplished today to honor my future? What will I regret not doing by the time the sun sets? This mental exercise forces clarity. It aligns your actions with your long-term vision instead of your short-term emotions. Next, break your day into intentional blocks. Decide in advance when you'll work, rest, exercise, eat, reflect, or create. This gives your mind structure, and when your mind has structure, your energy doesn't get wasted on small decisions. You move with direction instead of drifting into distraction. Then prepare your environment. Tidy your workspace. Set out your clothes. Organize what you'll need for your most important tasks. Small actions like this remove friction from your day. They protect your focus. They save you from decision fatigue. And more than that, they remind you that you're living on purpose, not reacting to life, but designing it. And just as important, prepare your mindset. Reflect on how you want to show up in your relationships, your work, your challenges. Write down your intentions. With today, I will respond with patience. With today, I will not allow fear to lead. I to give my best even when it's uncomfortable. These inner commitments turn your day into more than a checklist. They turn it into a mission. Preparing with discipline also means anticipating resistance. Don't pretend the day will be easy. Prepare for interruptions, for moments of doubt, for temptation to quit, and then mentally rehearse how you respond. This doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you powerful. When you expect the challenge and train your response, you no longer fold, you lead. Finally, recognize that discipline is a form of self-respect. When you take these moments in the early morning to plan, organize, and align yourself, you're telling your mind, your body, and your spirit, I take my life seriously. I don't move on impulse. I move with intention. Because the truth is the day doesn't begin when the sun rises. It begins when you rise, not just from sleep, but into awareness, into ownership, into discipline. And when your day is built on that foundation, no amount of noise can shake your focus. So if you find yourself waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., understand this is not a random disturbance. This is a sacred invitation, an inner calling to rise before the world, to connect with your deeper self, and to begin the day with clarity, power, and peace. Most people sleep through their greatness, not because they don't have potential, but because they never learn to value the silence before the storm. They wake up reacting to life, but you're being nudged to respond to life with discipline, with intention, with purpose. These early hours are your edge. When you breathe deeply, when you speak life into yourself, when you visualize, reflect, read, write, and prepare, you are not just starting your day, you are shaping your identity. You are showing the universe, and more importantly, yourself, that you are ready to grow, ready to rise, ready to lead. And if you stay consistent, if you honor this sacred window instead of ignoring it, over time you'll realize your mornings didn't just change your day, they changed your life.